Hello and welcome back to, let's call this one the final episode of this week's show. And it's all about the power of online networking. Now, I've done a series of interviews with Charlott this week. We've talked about networking online. We've talked about networking, top tips around networking. We talked about building solid relationships online. But what is actually networking online? What's the power of that? And how can you really utilize it and really get into it? So, so I'm really looking forward to this interview, and let's see where it goes. We've not prepared for this. We haven't put a script together. We've literally just gone. No, I know we don't know. But I really do want to kind of delve in a few rabbit holes, and I'm really happy and looking forward to that. So, So Charlott, look, thank you for agreing for me to interview you.
I love it.
Right?
I've been loving this week.
Yeah, it's been great actually. Now look, the first thing I want to do, I want to talk about Boundless. Okay, because the one thing that Boundless was never built for was to become an online networking platform. All right, we built a platform that would help people engage, help people get connected to each other, and help people get exposure.
Yeah.
Then the networking has been developed by its members. All right,
which is fab.
Yeah, literally by its members. Right. So we are currently hosting several Get Connected groups, all run by members of Boundless. All right. And it is expanding.
Massively.
But we're spreading across the globe. Right? Yeah. That's the idea of it, because we understand the power of networking, but we understand the benefits and the power of networking online. And the reason why I wanted to do this as a topic was because I wanted to educate other people about it. I wanted to bring some of those subjects to home to get people to think about those benefits. So the first benefit, I think, is got to be cost effective, right?
Yeah. I want to go back to the fact of Boundless not ever sort of thinking about becoming an online networking platform and such, because it has been developed by the members, and therefore you get the know, like, trust much quicker.
Yeah.
So that brings in sort of the online networking space. It can sometimes, I think, take a bit longer to create those kind of know, like, trust.
Yeah.
If you're in the online space, especially if you do a lot of speed networking, that sort of thing, or if you go to, if you go to a network where you say 60 seconds online all the time, it takes a little while to get the momentum going, which is why we skip the 60 seconds and go straight into 4 one-to-ones, because for us, it's all about building relationships.
Yeah.
So that's where. So I'm going to go into the cost effective. I mean, it kind of says itself what that is, but I think.
No, I don't think it does actually. I don't think it does say what it is. I think because it is cost effective, but I mean, we still charge, right? So we charge a membership to come to our network, but where the cost effective thing I come into, I think personally, which is why I want to elaborate on it, is fuel.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And we are going through, a time when that's something to think about.
Yeah.
But time.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand the value of time, because time is a currency. It is your currency.
I
and
heard
you
a
can't buy
perfect
any more.
example of this today, which I need to share. And it was somebody saying to me, "Oh yeah, I only go to that network now because it's free." And I said, "What about your time?" He said, "Oh well, it's a couple of hours." And I said, "Do you get any leads from it?" "No, never had anything. I've been there for 2 years, but it's free." And that is a typical example. So you're giving away 2 hours of your time on a weekly basis, and you don't get anything from it.
So let's put a value to that, right? So if I'm a web developer, right, my average hour per cost on average is about £45, right? If I'm a business mentor, okay, these are average costings, right? And I've done a little bit of research on this, right? So if I'm a business mentor, my average hourly rate is £100 an hour. Okay. If I'm a mechanic or working in the motor industry, my average hour is about £75. So now all of a sudden that network is not, if I'm a business mentor, that network is not free. It's now costing me £200 a time.
Yeah. And you've got to think about what you can do in that time to, if the networking is free, but it's not working for you, it's not really free, is it?
No, and it doesn't become cost effective. I want to actually bring a shout out to this to a guy called Stefan Grabner. Stefan Grabner runs a Matsu. We utilize a Matsu. We go to see Stefan, and it costs about £50 a session, right? and each session lasts about 45 minutes. So he worked out that for every 2-hour network that he goes to, it is costing him effectively around about 150 quid. And that's not including if he's got to drive there and drive back, right? Yeah. So that's just an online network. So that's potentially 3 clients that he's losing in the time that he's networking. So there is a time element, and I think that needs to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, and I think the other cost-effective thing, because a lot of networks, sometimes you buy into a membership, and then you also then have to pay for events happening. And they can be really expensive.
Yeah.
You know, they can be great fun. You can make great connections, but you've got to take that into consideration. And it's the fuel, it's the dress, it's the whole thing. You know, it's everything that you've got to take into that consideration of, are you going to meet business owners that you are likely to work with? And I know, you know, again, we don't go into networking thinking, yes, I'm going to get some business. But at the back of your mind, you still got to be serious about your business and thinking, are you going to the right networks to meet the right people?
So that's the first one. Cost. I think cost is definitely, and time has to be coming into that. But I want to delve into a few mistakes that people make when they're online networking. And this is massive.
This is
right?
a rabbit hole.
Yeah, this is a rabbit hole, and I'm ready to dive down it, right? But a lot of people go, I don't get any business from online networking, right? And then I see them online, and they are in basically, they're in their room, sometimes their bedroom, their wardrobe doors are open. You can see all their clothes. Their bed is unmade. Their backdrop is horrific. And then you go, well, I can tell you now why you're not getting any business, because you are stepping into their. If that is the situation, it is sometimes the situation. Some people can only network from their bedroom, right? And that's cool. Get a virtual background, right? You can do stuff about that. You can hide it, all right? Because people don't want to see that. And I think that is a top tip. Don't eat on camera, right? I think that's a big one. People are sat there eating their tea and toast in the middle of online networking, and then they're wondering then why people don't take them seriously. Yeah. And then other people turn up in pretty much their pajamas. All right. Dress for an online network, dress in the same way as you would dress if you were going to a face-to-face.
Yeah.
Right? Put a shirt on if that's how you would go out face-to-face. You might be slouching around in your hoodie, and that's fine. Creatives, that is the way that they roll. But that's fine. But just be consistent about it. But think about, how am I projecting myself? How do I look to potential clients? Do I look to a potential client that I don't know what I'm talking about?
But that comes back again to being authentic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're a person that, you know, love a shirt, if you're going to a face-to-face meeting, you wear a shirt. When you got online meeting, I love my dresses, and I also love wearing, because my favorite color is blue, which is a brand color, which is obviously why it's blue. And I like to have a lot of blue because it looks great on camera, and I know that that color really suits me. So therefore I would often wear the blue colors because it enhances everything, my surroundings.
And I think that's an absolute spot on thing as well. So how do you unlock the benefits of online? Think about all of the aspects, right? So think about your brand.
Yeah.
Think about what you look like on camera. Think about the benefits behind it, and then utilize it. Go back to the top tips of networking. Yeah. Go back to those. Think about, you just need to connect. This is why we only have 4 one-to-ones, right? Because then you only have to connect and follow up with 4 people. That is how you then enhance that online platform, that online networking. And we have, we haven't reinvented the wheel. What we've done is taken all the ingredients and created something out of it that you can then utilize and succeed with. And that's all we've done, right? We haven't reinvented the wheel. This thing's been going, online networking and online platforms been around for years.
But I've heard from quite a few people who sort of mention things in when you go to them. Well, but we're back to face-to-face now. And it's like, actually, we are in a hybrid world. And I know we mentioned it in a show before, but that's quite important to remember, because yes, you might prefer face-to-face networking, and that's great. We all have our different types of networking. You might have your social network where you go. We got a couple of social networks that we go to once a month. And that's great, because you've got to have a little bit of different stuff going on and different areas of getting business. But what it is so great with online networking is that you can, it's really time efficient. So I can jump on a call and have a great networking session. I actually feel ready to go into the rest of my day.
Yeah, because you can come in, you do what you got to do, you finish, and then go right next, rather than taking out a whole afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, or a whole morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still do face-to-face stuff. So we've got our networking events, right?
Yeah.
We're soon running, or we're developing our
Get
cycling events. But we also do our face-to-face events, right? Which is what we
the meetups.
The meetups, right?
Yeah.
So we see the value in all of that.
Yeah.
Just the same as anybody else.
But it's the hybrid concept.
But I think, and the point that I want to make out of this is not just do online networking, do both. My point is, how do you what's the word I'm looking for? How do you enhance what you're doing online? How do you make online networking
by
part of
becoming
what
prepared?
you're doing? Yeah.
So, a great thing can be if you're in a networking to have a little QR code that people can scan.
Yeah, have it on your virtual backdrop.
Yeah, that's a good one. Or have, you got to present yourself like you would in a face-to-face meeting, but it's just slightly different. So first off, online, obviously, make sure that you're in a lit room so people can see you.
I've seen this once. I was in a network, and I'm not saying it because it was anything particular, but they were in a black environment, right? And actually, then what turned out happened was that the person that was actually networking himself was also black. So we just couldn't see who they were.
No.
And yet they could have been anybody.
Yeah.
It was like, one of those interviews when you see it on Crime Watch. It looked like that.
But you got to make the eye contact as well. I had a one-to-one with somebody today who's very new into networking, and she was looking at a different screen. That can be really off-putting. Obviously, if you're doing a presentation or something, you can say to them, actually, I'm just looking on the different screen for this reason, but maybe say that.
Yeah,
so
that's
you actually
the key presentation skill, that is. I have my camera on a different screen now, but what I now do is my camera sits in front of me, so I just move my screen to the camera.
Just look at how you're presenting yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's no different to if you're going to face-to-face. Obviously, it is different, but you want to present yourself in a good way, and the same should go for online. You would want to present yourself how you want others to see you, and what you stand for with your whole persona of who you are. So again, go back to being authentic.
And I think so. My tip, I would say, around and taking it out of what we've talked about today, is if you're going to network online, which we recommend, obviously, we run an online networking platform. If you're going to network online and you really want to get the best out of that experience and get a valuable return on investment, treat it like a face-to-face. Yeah. So obviously embrace the fact that it's different, all right? But then embrace it, period, right? So use the 10 top tips, right? Go in prepared, especially with Senior Bounce, because we open that opportunity up because we tell you exactly who's coming to the network. So do that. Follow up. Make sure that you follow up with at least 2, 3, 4 people on that network each time. Build lasting relationships. Be patient. And actually, online networking is probably quicker. But be patient. Keep in touch. But I think the keep in touch is probably more prudent.
Yeah, definitely.
With that, and I think I think embrace both rather than dismissing the one.
Oh, absolutely. I think you're right. And you got to, if you're a business owner, you can't just be part of one network. You can't put all your eggs in one basket.
No,
you need to have different, different groups of people that you surround yourself with. We see this a
lot, actually.
Yeah, and I see it a lot where they put everything into one network.
Yeah.
And then,
that network
they could fold, or it can, move location and you can no longer go, or, whatever it might be that you've exhausted it. So you utilized all the kind of connections and you've been there for sort of quite a few years. So it's about finding different, I keep that door open.
Always. And that actually is probably one of the toppest tips that we can give. Don't just join one network. We want you to join Senior Bounds, but we encourage you to join other networks. And that's why
we often take our members to other networks as well, when they both online and face to face.
But that's why we want to be the network that encourages other networks. So look, we do have to end the show. We didn't know where this show was going to go, actually, when we started it. We didn't know where we were going to go with this particular subject.
No.
I was open to going down rabbit holes, but I think we've got a lot of knowledge in this area. And I think hopefully that we have given you some insight into thinking about online networking in a different way. So we want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, we'll see you again soon. Take care.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.